Did you know that on average, 1 out of every 5 people have some form of mental illness? Take a college class of 35 students. That means that at least 6 people in that class deal with one or more form of mental illness. You don't know who or what form. All you need to know is that the things you say affect those around you. Think about the people closest to you. Chances are many of them are struggling with at least one form of mental illness. It makes you wonder, how can you be in somebody's life for so long and never know what they're going through? It is because of mental health stigmatization and why we should stop this stigma. As someone who has first-hand experience with multiple mental illnesses and the harmful effects of stigmatization, I can speak on the detrimental effects it has. Let's start by defining the stigmatization of mental health. Dr. Graham Davey says that mental health can be split into 2 categories. The first one is social stigma, which is discriminating behavior towards individuals with mental illness. This behavior could be degrading, looking down upon, judging, belittling, treating differently, physically harming, verbally insulting, or even socially outcasting an individual because they or someone they love struggles with mental illness. Oftentimes, individuals act this way because of misguided beliefs where individuals with mental illness are more violent, unpredictable, and different than most individuals. Today, just having a diagnosis can label you as mad or violent. These things lead to the public believing that people with mental health conditions need to be treated with caution or avoided altogether. The second type of mental health stigmatization is called self-stigma, which is how a person living with one or more mental illness perceives the discrimination or stigma. An individual who is struggling with mental illness may have issues expressing their need for help, adding in the fear of discrimination, being judged, and the stigmatization of mental health also greatly impacts one's ability to ask for help. As a result of mental illness and mental health stigma, individuals with mental illness often internalize, which results in worsening mental health. With stigmatization being what it is often difficult, and to an individual with mental health issues, it may seem impossible to open up to their own loved ones, out of fear of being ridiculed, outcast, or humiliated. Now that you know what mental health stigmatization is, let's talk about its impact on the world. Katrina Gay from the National Alliance on Mental Illness says that stigmatization has been so bad that even successful and famous actors and comedians hide the fact that they are struggling. Oscar and Emmy-winning Patty Duke was one of the first celebrities to speak out about mental health. When asked why it is so difficult to get anyone from the entertainment industry to speak out, she said that if they did speak out about their mental health illness, they run the risk of being blacklisted and denied parts. When Katrina asked Patty why she was able to come forward, Patty laughed and said, "Well, dear, everyone already knows my story of bipolar disorder, and besides, I've been president of the Screen Actors Guide, and I have had a successful career. I can afford to take these risks. And if not me, then who would be among the first to step forward and speak out?" Since Patty Duke spoke out, many celebrities have been coming forward and speaking about their own mental illness and sharing their experiences. Celebrities like Demi Lovato, Ryan Reynolds, Miley Cyrus, Gina Rodriguez, Dwayne Johnson, and many more have shared their experiences. Celebrity speaking out is not enough because people think it is normal for celebrities to struggle because they are under more stress than normal people. A psychiatric nurse named Sobin Parel believes that mental health stigmatization can cause people who have mental illnesses to be kept from certain opportunities like jobs, housing, healthcare, and affiliations. This is because individuals with mental illnesses are often seen as insufficient to take care of themselves. They believe they are unable to hold the job, perform the necessary tasks, or that they are dangerous risk to the people around. Stigmatization only further diminishes one's mental health. It affects mental health because when people are not willing to associate with an individual, it causes the individual with mental health issues to believe that they will always be socially rejected, so they think that they are worthless. According to the Department of Health, many people with mental health problems say that the biggest barrier to getting back on their feet is not the symptoms of the illness, but the attitudes of other people. So how do we fix this? Luna Greenstein from the National Alliance on Mental Illness says, "The very first thing we need to do is educate people in any way we know how. Share your personal stories, attend classes, be there for people who need you, and if you hear somebody talking bad about mental health, correct them." Angela Christie says that she fights stigma by talking about what it is like to have bipolar disorder and PTSD on Facebook. Even if it helps just one person, it is worth it for her. Another way to combat stigma is to know the language you are using. Avoid using language that could be offensive or downgrading to a person with mental illness. You may not realize that what you say affects people around you, but it does. If somebody tells you your words hurt them, listen. We need to make sure that we step up and tell people when they are being offensive or degrading. Friends, family, strangers, and even media all need to be informed when they are using negative comments towards people with mental illness. The world is never going to change unless people start stepping up. The next step is removing mental health stigma is hard, but necessary. Don't have any self-stigma. Do not socially distance yourself. While the stigmatization of mental health can make you feel alone and worthless, do not feed into it. Volunteer, go out, have friends, seek help when needed, and stay active in the community. There was a study done by the professor of sociology at Indiana University called Get Involved. They created a series of activities that were supposed to educate, inform, and entertain. The purpose was to study the effects on stigma before and after the activities. They found reductions in stigma in 11 to 14% of the students of those who participated in 4 or more activities sponsored by I Bring Change to Mind. They used activities such as suicide awareness walks, scavenger hunts, and escape rooms, things that the community does on a daily basis, repurposed for fun and education. Together, the world can become a braver, stronger, and happier place if we come together to fight the stigma by educating ourselves and others, understanding words have meaning, correcting others, and not self-stigmatizing. I will leave you with the words of Dr. Erin Ovo. I think Robin Williams, a man who brought so much joy to millions of people, would want us to learn from his loss and stop perpetuating the problem of people suffering with depression in silence.